Parker here. If the principles of shopping cart ethics are lived out honorably, intentionally, and locally, then most of the time, one person is enough. But sometimes the world asks for more. When institutions break down or trust collapses, one man won't be enough. In those moments, you don't need a crowd, you need an organized minority. I didn't invent that term. If you want to explore its deeper history, consider checking out Academic Agent. He covers the theory more comprehensively than I could. I'm not here to explain where it came from. I'm here to talk about how to use it, because this isn't a call to arms, it's a call to give high trust actions a vehicle. Section 1. What is an organized minority? An organized minority is a small, disciplined group that acts with clarity and consistency. What binds an organized minority together is its mission, because despite our belief in the efficacy of grassroots movements, real reform doesn't come from mobs. It comes from a handful of people with an iron will and singular focus. Many people associate the term organized minority with revolutionaries and their movements. That may be true, but it can also be a neighbor who steps up, a teacher who doesn't look away, or a citizen who won't compromise. Every organized minority begins with a few people with a vision. Section 2. Real world examples. The military is an organized minority, and it works because it's composed of smaller, organized minorities, each with its structure, duty, and accountability. The federal government, despite its flaws, is still run by a relatively small portion of the population. What gives it legitimacy, when it has any, is process and principle. Even your school board can be one. A few parents show up with a plan and a backbone, and the whole culture starts to shift. You don't need thousands, you just need trust, clarity, and shared values. Section 3. The double edged sword. Let's be honest, this power cuts both ways. Mobs didn't cause history's greatest horrors. Small, focused, and disciplined groups were the cause. Communists, fascists, extremists, what made them dangerous wasn't just ideology, it was intent without principle. And the only thing that stops an organized minority gone wrong, it's an organized minority that knows what is right. That's why character matters. That's why shopping cart ethics starts with the individual. So when the group forms, it still retains its soul. Section 4. Structure and virtue go together. All functioning organized minorities have a structure, not to dominate, but to operate. Leadership, delegation, accountability. Without them, nothing gets done. Without virtue, what gets done might not be worth doing. Even churches and neighborhood watches follow this model, not because they seek power, but because they need reliability. If you try to cooperate without structure, you'll fail. If you try to lead without virtue, you'll destroy. It's not just about organizing, it's about organizing what's good. Section 5. When it's time to form the few. If you've lived the shopping cart code, taken responsibility, sharpened your skills, and handled your business, then you're already ready. But when the moment comes that it's no longer just about you, maybe it's about your town, your family, or your trade, you won't have time to build trust from scratch. That's when the organized minority matters most. Not as a shield, not as a spear, but as a stabilizer, a builder, a steward of what must remain. Final thoughts. Don't wait for the crowd. Most of them aren't coming. You don't need an army. You need a few you can count on. Because organized minorities matter in times of war, but they're even more vital in times of peace. This is Anvil Hammer Forge. Let's get to work.